So Sandeepta, I would love to start our session now, and I welcome you today to another beautiful conversation, which I do with very promising women, and it's called Women Instability in Times of Instability. And I want to tell the viewers that when I started this series, it was just not because I wanted the series to be very ostentatious, but also very inspiring, so that we have something to take back with us in these different times for us to evolve as better human beings. And what do I say about today's conversation? Here, there is a woman who has turned dust to sparkles, a woman who has shown phenomenal gravity. She has grace, she has poise, she has determination and hard work in her DNA. And yes, I'm talking about Sandeepta Das. Sandeepta Das has a very, very interesting journey, a very what should I say, a very wholesome journey to share with you, how her journey started from Sandeep to Sandeepta and where she is today with all the hard work and love and zest for life that she put in herself to prove that she's here to stay. Sandeepta is an artist. She has a collection of her own called Hues of Rebellion. Am I right?
It's
Uh,
correct. Yeah.
the graphic designer and a production assistant with Accenture in Bangalore. And yes, I have to mention this, Sandeepta, that you are from my city of joy, Kolkata, but right now you're residing in Bangalore. So welcome, Sandeepta, on today's show.
Thank you so much, Vajanti. Thank you.
So, Sandeepta, I would like to begin today's conversation by asking you from where do you want to start our viewers to know about you? So, in brief, but yes, because we don't have like a very long session that we can cover in a recorded version, but yes, in very brief words, what is it that you want to tell the viewers about your initial journey?
So, before I start about my journey, I would like to introduce myself that I have in this way. So, Sandeep has recreated uh, herself to Sandeepta. Obviously God has created me, but I have recreated myself long time back when I have realized that I'm trapped in something which I'm not really comfortable. So that's how my journey started few years back. Then I had gone through a lot like other individuals in the society, within the society. Then I felt like, okay, this is me wherever I'm standing nowadays. So yes, myself is Sandeepta Das. I'm basically from Calcutta, and I have studied design studies. I'm an artist basically, and right now I'm working with Accenture Bangalore as a graphic designer and production analyst.
But Sandeeta, do share a little light about your years of realization that you are in a trapped body. This is a very important message that I also want, likewise, individuals to identify with. You know, because this particular fact of realizing that you are a soul but captivated in a different diaphragm, it's very important. So, if you could share a little light about how you combated that, what was that experience, what is very normal to feel about it, because suddenly people start panicking, the ones who are going through this process, as to what is happening with me, am I not normal? What is normalcy?
So honestly, to my perspective, there is no normal in our world. It's all about your perspective. When I have realized about my identity, I didn't know what is identity, what is gender, what is sexuality. So I started to realize as a woman in that time back, like 10 years back, 10, 15 years back. Then I was very conscious about myself. Am I trapped in a wrong body? What would I feel after 5 years? Then I started to process all the things, whatever I needed to.
I'm just intruding, what age you might be in this time?
13,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Then I talked about it with my parents, and they were very concerned about it. They usually, our Indian parents are very concerned about the society rather than their
Yeah,
children.
true,
So
true.
my parents were concerned about, especially my father. and his family. So my mother was quite worried about my gender identity, though that time I didn't know about the terminologies like transgender, gay, bisexual, all the gender terminologies and the sexualities, whatever we have nowadays because of the media exposure.
Right.
That time I wasn't aware of at all. Then I started to read about the articles. Then I started to read about all the things on in books. Then I got to realize maybe I should start doing the therapist, go for any therapist so she or he can help me out. Then I
Right.
started my therapy, psychological and psychiatric treatment. Then I realized that I don't have to fall under any conventional box within the society. I
Right.
know what I am, and I should feel that in my own.
Right.
Then I realized that I'm a woman. I feel like a woman. And what I feel, I think that everybody should feel we are not trapped in a wrong body either. We are trapped in the perspective of people. It's all about perspective and how you see it, not even the society, because we are the society, we make the society. If we change our perspective, everything will fall under a part. So that's what I feel. And like you Vaijanti, you have been doing a lot for the in general community, and community, LGBTQ community is just a small part of the society. We have to think about the society
Right.
first, which whatever you are doing, the taking the initiative for the people. Let's forget about the LGBTQ, let's talk about the humanity. What about humanity?
That's
So we have to feel and respect individual as human first, then gender and sexuality comes a lot later.
So tell me one thing, you mentioned about you going through this psychological process of taking the therapy. How far do you feel a person, a trans man or a trans woman, when the person realizes to this identity in between? Is it important for someone to go through this process? How helpful is a psychological therapy?
To me, psychological therapy is very important for a person who is actually very in between, I mean, very confused about the gender and their identity, who doesn't feel into a specific a man woman box. So I think psychological treatment important for any of individual. It's not about LGBTQ, but though I think the whole process, apart from the psychological therapy, it's totally our choice. You don't have to be a woman if you feel like a woman. You don't have to be man if you feel like a man. It's all about you. It's all about the way you feel, the way you see in front of a mirror every morning, the way you pursue your life, the way you feel that you are pretty every day.
So, when you realized this and you moved ahead with your life and you wanted to accept the changes, you went through a psychological analysis, you spoke to your parents about it. How did you go about your education after that? How did you go about? I read somewhere in an article about you that how there were bullying in schools that you had to face, and how they were like gang up against you, and how you had to face the journey of education to be where you are here today. So if you could share a little light about, as a trans person, what expectations to have one can have about education, about being similar to the normal humans that are there in the community. Why be sidelined? So in terms of education, what can be expected is available to a transgender?
So in our society, I mean, like when I used to go to school, I have been bullied. To my perspective, it was very, very difficult for me. But nowadays, things are changing. Things are more, people are more educated about regarding this gender and sexuality. And people are very sensitive and sensible towards a individual who is a transgender, who
Right.
is a gay, who is a bisexual.
Mhm.
And I think we need to respect a human first. In educational sector, I would say we need to include gender and sex education, which is very important in our school. the way we grew up. I think the whole thing, the whole education system, whatever is nowadays, it has changing, and it is changing. It has a lot of change we can see there. People are talking about gender and sexuality nowadays, in conferences, in schools and colleges. We have a lot of session based on that. So yeah, I think there are people who are really taking initiative within the college and schools nowadays, and it's quite impressive. And I'm really grateful and thankful for those people from the community, our new generation of LGBTQ or queer community. They're really lucky. They are getting all these things which we haven't got. I
So
mean,
how did
it,
you
it
manage
was
to
very
complete
difficult.
your education, Sandeepta? If you could tell us, how did you manage to be a graphic designer, a production assistant? That is very inspiring for everyone to know.
It was quite difficult for me to gone through all the struggles. I mean, I used to be very afraid to go to school and colleges because of the bullying and the mocking based on my gender. Though I wasn't aware of my identity that time, I wasn't that confident enough nowadays the way I am.
Right.
But yes, I have done all my basic things first. Identity, legal identity, which is very important in our country. So I have worked on it, and I have applied for design schools, and my design school students and my batchmates and even my faculties were very supportive. And I have done my education from Kolkata, which is very surprising sometimes. Like whenever you are from Calcutta, people are not that forward and not that broad-minded. I would not say that is true. There are people who are taking the charge and the initiative to support us as well. So yes, that was pretty smooth for me after my graduation. Then I have done few diplomas on design studies. Then I have traveled to Bangalore for looking for a job, because that was quite difficult for me to look for a job in Calcutta. Again, Calcutta, it's, you can find negativity and positivity at the same time.
That's true.
Lotus is the positive, but lotus born in a mark. So mark is a negativity. So to me, positivity only comes from the negativity. If you haven't gone through struggles, you cannot be so strong and so powerful in your life nowadays. So yes, I have been looking for a job in Kolkata, but I couldn't get any. So I started to travel in Bangalore, in Delhi, since 2017. But there was a LGBTQ job conference were happening last year, 2019. Then I have attended the job fair, and I have met few people over there. The job conference experience was really nice to me, because I haven't seen those kind of initiative in our country ever.
Really. Which city
Then
is this where the job incubation conference took place? Delhi?
no, in Bangalore
Oh,
last year, 2019.
can you shine a little light on that as to what this conference is all about? Why I am sort of rehydrating these few positive things coming from you is that maybe somewhere someone can avail of, certain advantages which comes out of a conversation.
Yeah. So when I was flying to Bangalore, I was pretty concerned about my future, my career, because I have done all the things, whatever needed to be, but
Right.
I'm not getting anything in my life. Why? Is there any flaws in me? Then I had to go through all the trauma. Then I was traveling to Bangalore. Then I have met people in job fair. Though it was very spontaneous. One day I was just surfing on Instagram, and I have seen their advertisement regarding the job fair, and
Oh,
I have applied and registered my name on
oh,
the website, and they have contacted me. I have registered myself. When I landed in Bangalore, then I made few contacts over there, which they really helped me out. Then I met a person from Accenture in Bangalore, and she took my resume, and she was quite surprised, like, why I'm not getting anything after my studies. And she was like, I would definitely contact you, whether there is vacancy or not. I would definitely have a word with you over the phone. And that was a positive vibe for me. I'm like, whether, no matter what, I mean, like, whether I'm getting the job or not, but there are some lights which I can see for my future. Then I flew back to Calcutta. I came back to Calcutta. Then one day after a month, I got a call from Accenture regarding my interview, and I was I felt so happy, and that day was like, okay, this is the time. This is the time I should take the charge, take whatever opportunity is coming towards me. Then I thought so that taking this job was a challenge for me. Shifting from Calcutta to Bangalore, it was very difficult for me as well. And looking for an accommodation within this city, in a different city, it was very, very difficult for me. So I thought maybe I should take this job so people like me, they can come forward in the future and they should take the charge for themselves.
Yes,
They are really capable enough to take the charge as well. So I can be the figure to motivate themselves. Why not?
that's
Let's
exactly right.
let's take the charge right now.
Over here, I would also want to share one of my experiences. The other day, when I was in an LGBTQ conference here in American Centers, where I came across a lot of LGBTQ community persons who were sharing the story about how it is tough. It is probably okay, you get a job, but then to retain it, to be incubated in the firm without again being bullied and harassed is the key, is the basic foundation. It talks about the generic sanitization of mind in that particular firm. So how far do you feel between Kolkata and Bangalore companies, or should I say, how far it is important for this sensitization of thought to be prevailing in companies when they are taking in transgenders as their employees, because they hire them, but then to retain them and to give them a comfortable surrounding so that they can feel one of the same of the others working there is very tough.
Again, I would say it's depending on perspective. Like company has their policy and terms which every employees have to follow. So within the Accenture is a really good company for LGBTQ. They are making the inclusivity for LGBTQ people, and they really work hard for the community. And they are trying to include individuals from the community. But there are employees, there are people whom you may find who are not really comfortable. I mean, I'm telling you the one small example. I was standing in the cafeteria one day in my office, and there were people who were talking about me, and I could hear that, and they were discussing about me. And I didn't say anything because that's not my responsibility to educate them all the time. People should take them like get them education by themselves as well. I'm talking about the basic education regarding the gender. They should be more sensitive to
This is
other.
you mentioned about sex education in schools earlier.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
So people should be more sensitive within the company, and there are I think women are also being bullied and harassed within the international companies as well. This is not about transgender, of course.
Right.
Gender, when the unconventional gender fall under an unconventional box, that's more sensitive. That's
Right.
very, very sensitive. But
True.
let's talk about a human. A man can be bullied and molested in their workplace as well. But we don't talk about it because it's kind of like, honestly, we live in a patriarchal society, so we always think about our rights. And of course, but as I do believe in equality and equal rights, I will talk about men, women, I will talk about human rights. I won't talk about any gender specific rights.
Yes, I really like that in your conversation that even coming from the LGBTQ sector, you are just not hydrating the fact about LGBTQ. You are bringing it down to a very equilibrium momento, which is human, being human. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter whether you're a queer or a man or a woman. What is important is to have the human instincts and follow the
correct.
human psychology in the community.
Correct. It's like if I want to have a cup of coffee with you, why a gender matters to me?
Right,
Why a sexuality? It doesn't. It really doesn't. The human does matter to me.
right.
Unless the human is not really good. If the human is decent, honest, and really good human, then his or her gender and sex doesn't matter to me at all.
That's true. That's true.
That's not harming me.
So tell me one thing, Sandeepta, besides being an artist that I know you from, that is your Hues of Rebellion, as you call your art collection, super dancer and a choreographer too. And what a walk you do at the ramp, like nobody can. The ones who have witnessed it in person know that no one can walk better on the ramp than Sandeepta. Tell me, where does this artistic enclosure in you come from, and how do you express? What is your thought behind when you create your artwork? What is a theme that inspires you? Because I have seen your artwork. They are very subjective to your thoughts. They are very individual. They are very different from the usual. So tell us something about your art collective.
So when I started to do my artwork, I thought, why would I imagine and why would I portray on my canvas? Why not reality? Whatever is going within the society, whatever we go through. So we have panel discussion based on our reality, but we don't portray our reality through the artwork in general. So I think art is a very important medium to portray our lives. So I thought maybe let's not uh, uh, paint my dream or nightmare. Let's paint my own reality or others' reality. So in that way, I can portray their lives through the positivity within the society, spread the news, whatever they are going through about their lives. So I do have a specific art style. My art base, I follow my artwork. My artwork influenced by Pablo Picasso and American artist.
You can share online. Can the viewers check your artwork online? Have you shared it anywhere on the digital platform?
I do have an Instagram page where I keep upload my artwork.
Would you like to mention the name of the account?
It's Hues underscore of underscore rebellion. Hues of rebellion.
So
Yeah,
that's Use of Rebellion, and
yeah.
under the link which Sandeepta mentioned. And it would be really great if you would want to see these beautiful work of art by Sandeepta. And yes, Sandeepta, I would like you to continue a little more about your inspiration about the artwork.
So I got inspired. I got really inspired when my passport story had happened. The passport incident back in 2018
Can you
in
just mention
February.
about that now first before we move ahead?
Yeah, so I got rejected by a assistant passport officer in Calcutta when I had to travel to the US, and I had like 2 weeks to apply my passport urgently, and I applied, but they did reject my application based on my gender. They clearly said I cannot choose female gender, being a transgender woman. When I asked the passport officer, do you have any written paper where it's mentioned under constitutional law? Because I have whatever I have read before I applied for my passport, I haven't seen anything. But he was totally unable to show me the documents. Then my passport story has came up. Times of India, the news has came up in next day, and everybody called me, and I was like, I need support rather be sympathized and empathized by people. Then the regional passport officer, he called me, and I got my passport within a week. So then I thought, why I can't portray this incident through my artwork?
You wanted to
That's,
illustrate it out.
yes, that's how my art collective started. That was my first artwork.
Experience, a real time experience that you faced, which you wanted to draw on canvas. And that's how your journey of sharing the realistic on the canvas board started.
Correct,
So, can
correct.
you tell few more topics on what you've painted? Because yes, I have seen your artwork, and I am a proud owner and a collector of your artwork. I was
I'm
mentioning
glad.
the other day, and so one was I've seen the one which got inspired with the passport story. So, can you say something else about the one or two other incidents which motivated you to illustrate otherwise?
Motivated me as though I keep motivate people, but I also motivate by others as well.
Right.
It's very equal. Even from you, I keep motivated myself. The way you are, the strongest woman I have ever seen.
No, thank you so much. Coming from you, it's a sure compliment because your flamboyancy and your grace is nothing that I match up to. But I really look up to you for the fight that you've put in, the positivity that you share. Because I have met so many people from the transgender community, and each one has a very different story, but most of them are still struggling. So I can't blame them. They have a lot of anger and oppression inside them because even they are still facing a lot of hard work, which, you know, hardship, which they are not able to combat. But in your case, you were very different. You like used up all your shortcomings, all your reservoirs in limited number, and you turned them into advantages. So that is something which
I mean, speaking on whatever you have said, Vaijanti, there are people who are still struggling. But you know, when you stop victimizing yourself, you would go forward. We
right.
have to stop victimize ourselves, which I did, and I'm still doing it every day. I cannot. I am oppressed within the society, but I have to think about the positiveness, whatever I have got in my life. We
Right.
need to talk about the positivity as well. I mean, of course, the negativity as well, but we once you stop victimizing yourself,
Right.
you are totally fine.
I
I
understand.
mean, you have to be strong enough from inside, then you can go forward and motivate others. Like whatever I have nowadays, I would love to give the the way the whatever I have to others.
Right.
Definitely I would help others as much as I can. That is why I'm trying to doing right now. I mean, maybe I don't have a lot of money, but I can help people to come forward and support them, and they have to support themselves so they can, I mean, they can spread the positivity to 10 people in the future. So that's
But
how supporting each
I
other.
love when you said that you did not want to be sympathized with or empathized with. You just wanted some basic support. You wanted to be just shown some
And
growth.
the respect as a human.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a respect, which is very important. So
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like searching the roses, as you say, the lotus, and not the negativity, which should be talked about more.
Yeah.
So tell me, Sandeepta, lastly, I want to know in these times, you know, when you are locked down at Bangalore, away from your family, and showing so much of mental strength, you have your work projects which you need to submit, and you are staying all alone there. Where do you get this mental strength from? It is very important whenever I'm in a conversation with a working professional or a woman, I always ask them to share their mental strength as to from where is this coming from, because is it a sort of a meditation you do you read, do you write, do you paint, how do you channelize this entire uh, energy around you?
So, yes, I would not say like I don't fall, I don't break. Of course, I do break sometime. I mean, I do fall. I'm a human. I do have emotions. I do have the sensitivity. I'm very emotional person. And yes, whenever I see myself like I'm breaking myself, which I should not because I'm not privileged and I cannot afford that in this situation because I'm not the only one right now. There are other people who are on the same boat, who are on the same boat standing with me at the same time. So I try to keep myself positive through reading whenever I like started to get the negativity. And yes, of course, I do have assignments every day on weekdays. I have to submit those assignments. I have to be very professional whenever I'm talking to a client. Though there are certain things which is totally parallelly going on in my mind.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but I cannot break. I cannot, I mean, come out with the problems within my professional peers. I mean, like, totally not. Then I start to read. I just close my eye and I think whatever I have gone through, I look back. whatever I have, wherever I was few years back. So I should feel myself that I'm proud, I'm a strong, I cannot break myself. In this situation, everybody has to be strong. If I can't be strong, I cannot support somebody else, which is my responsibility. Like this situation is, it's a pandemic situation, and where we need to support each other virtually. We cannot meet with each other. So this is the high time we need to show the humanity towards each other, support each other psychologically, mentally, which we need from individuals right now, and which is very important. That's how I try to keep motivate myself. I mean, like, on that note, if I'm very depressed, I love to do my makeup. I do makeup. I love to cook food for myself. I do cook. I love to read. I love to listen. Sometimes I love to sing, though I'm a very bad and horrible singer.
I know that you're a crazy fan of jazz music. Is it jazz?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes jazz, sometimes pop, very old classic Bollywood songs by Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhosle. So yeah, I mean, like, I feel the songs, I feel the lyrics, then I try to motivate myself, and I would tell to the others, like, do in this situation, they should try to do whatever they love to do.
That's important.
That's very important. They should try to love themselves. They should take care of their family, supporting family rather having arguments. Like, I totally understand, like, we are not psychologically stable, and mental health issues is very terrible, and which is very difficult for us to control ourselves. I mean, I talk with my friends from Kolkata over the phone, and I start to crying, but I cannot show them that I'm crying. You know
True.
what? I try to hide my emotions that I cannot break. I cry under the shower. I cry in the rain. I cannot break myself to myself. So it's kind of motivating yourself so you can motivate others, and which is very important right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandeepta, so much. So, viewers, today we had this amazing conversation with Sandeepta, and I was not wrong in saying that here is this woman who cries during the rain so nobody can watch. Here is a woman who did not let determination fail her, in giving her best. Here is a woman who is still fighting the odds and winning. And here is a woman who talks about humans, who talks about human emotions. So thank you, Sandeepta, for being with me today, because I'm sure everybody, and I apologize we could not go FB Live today because of
Not a
some
problem.
technical issues, but this recording show will be very, very appealing for everyone to hear. And I look forward to meeting you when you're back in the city of joy.
Yes, totally, totally. And thank you so much, Vajanti, to take these kind of initiative, which is very important within the society. And I'm so grateful and thankful to an individual like you. You are always taking the charge for empowering human, woman, and every individuals, and
If
the
I can do that,
respect.
I myself get empowered. So it is totally selfish, Sandeepta. It's like when I talk about empowerment with you people, with any woman that I talk to, in return, I get empowered. So it is all about an extension of me, nothing. It's pretty elementary, actually. So thank you so much, Sandeepta, and thank you, everyone. And I'll see you all once again with another phenomenal woman talking about her journey in these awakening times. Stay home, stay safe, stay blessed. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you.